Oh, hello, chaos magicians. So this is the basically this is a welcome note. I know classes start tomorrow, so probably nobody's going to be watching this today. But this is a preparation because I will not be always available. Like I don't work with schedules. I personally have a personal schedule, and I still did not figure out how I'm going to fit you guys into my schedule. However, my plan is to give you lessons as long as we have this period of teaching based on there's not going to be a certain like you'll have to do it this way or you have to do it that way. It's more or less we're going to be working together more than me teaching you. And I think it would be more useful for us to work together rather than me being lecturing and telling you do this and that way and do that and this way. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, in my opinion, it's about going towards your own personal magician, your own personal teacher, not me, not anyone else. And when we get to that point where we were like, okay, so we want to get to this magician within us, but we can follow other magicians how they got there to and but not necessarily copycat it. Of course, some rituals, in some traditions, you have no other option but to follow the formulas that are given to you, unless the deity is telling you, oh, we're going to do it in a different way, and you got to do it in a different way. However, this is not what the class is about. This class is not about giving formulae and doing this. It's not about a formalistic approach to doing things or contacting certain deities. This is more of me kind of giving you how I understand things. And from there, you can navigate your own personal understanding. So let's have some rules of conduct so we can make things work. The first thing is, you have any questions? Ask. Ask, ask, ask. Simple as that. This first important thing regarding my teaching. I will not expect you guys to be like, oh, there's this. I will not expect you guys to understand if you're not asking questions. If you're not asking questions, then you are not really watching the videos, you're not really watching the lessons. So and I assume if you can understand everything, then you don't need me. All right. So the first rule is ask. Okay. Second rule. As you can see, I improvise. I did not write this down. This is just like coming out. The second is behaviors. I will not accept any troll in this fucking group. It's as simple as that. You start trolling shit around, you're kicked out. It's as simple as that. Why is that? I have a sense of humor, but this classroom is not going to be serious. There is going to be joking around and everything, but there are limits and rules to conduct. If you cannot have respect for me, then you don't have to be in my classroom. You don't have to respect me at all. I do not ask for your respect. If I ask for your respect, I don't deserve it. What I'm asking for is something different. Is if you cannot fathom, if you still did not attain the level of giving people respect, don't be in the classroom. Why? They're dealing in classrooms and holding spaces like that can get vulnerable at some points. And if you cannot confront yourself with your vulnerabilities, I'm not a priest and I'm not a preacher. All right? So this is the second part. The third part. The third part regarding the teaching is that I'm going to be focusing mainly on chaos magic. So if you have questions regarding voodoo, regarding Naga magic, if you know me personally, you'll come and ask me things from my personal workings. But at the end of the day, I won't be answering them. I'll be answering you regarding the magical course. The rain is really heavy. Oh. Wow. I apologize for this pause, but the rain is really, really heavy. Kind of worried. Anyway, so the third part. So the first one, or the first rule of conduct, ask questions. Second rule of conduct, behave yourself. It's as simple as that. Third rule of conduct is do magic. Do magic, do magic, do magic. It is a fucking rule in this classroom. If you do not do magic, then you won't be practicing what I tell you. Then whatever I'm going to tell you is going to go in the trash can. So, and I don't like my words being in a trash can unless they are useless. So third one is, your questions are going to tell me if you're practicing magic. Your questions are going to tell me if you are willing, for example, let me give you an example about third rule of conduct regarding practicing magic. If you are here because it's cool to learn magic, do yourself a favor. Understand that there's a lot of, yeah, it's cool to practice magic, fucking amazing, but the results of you practicing magic are going to be really, really requiring your attention, requiring your personal presence, and requiring a certain sense of I am. If you don't have the certain sense of I am, we're going to work on that a lot during this course. And if you've went through my courses before, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the third one. So going back on the rules, as you can see, I'm improvising. First one, ask. Second, behave yourself. Third, do what you are, not what you are told. Do what you want to do. Do your magic. Take what I give you and put it in your magic. And if you don't like my opinion on something, you better come confront me about it. Otherwise, it's not my responsibility. You've got your body. You've got your mind space. That is yours, not mine. I take no fucking credibility or I take no responsibility over your mental space. So what I'm going to do is based on my experience, based on my understanding. How you believe it, that is your own personal autonomy. So these are the three rules. And now, with that said, let's begin the first lesson. The first lesson is discernment. And one of the things that I like to do with my lessons is that I am my own kind of like rat, like my own laboratory mouse. When I go through experiments with myself and make mistakes, I kind of like to teach those mistakes to people so they don't have to go through those things. One of the jobs of the teacher is to help you cut short and like thunderbolt through the points where you don't have to repeat the same mistakes that your teacher has done. Otherwise, then why go to a teacher? Just experience what you have to experience, you know? So, discernment. And notice I did not teach you, I'm not teaching you trust. I'm not asking you to trust people. I'm asking you to discern. All right? Because the first thing is, a lot of people on the internet, like recently, even like when you just type on YouTube magic, a lot of motherfuckers will come popping up. And it's horrendous, ridiculous, disgusting. Some of them are very useful. Like a lot of people, not some actually, a lot of people have learned a lot from fucking YouTube. I learned a lot from books. I learned a lot from dealing with people. But at the same time, there is a lot of lessons that I did not need to learn. If I had some discernment, that would have helped me a lot with like thunderbolting through the things, you know, other than just like, oh, he says that approaching this Loa is in this way or approaching this God in this way. So if I approach him from any other direction, it's not acceptable. So I'll have to pay him 2,000 euros or $1,000 so I can learn from his ass. No. So the first thing regarding discernment is ask yourself this question when you're coming to approach a deity. Are you respectful? Then there's nothing more to worry about. Okay. Have you done your research regarding the conduct of that deity? Like for example, in the African, like how do you guys call them in America or whatever. But in African religions, there are certain things that you're not supposed to give to the deity. Like for example, Batala, you can't give him palm wine because in his story, palm wine is not good for him. So you do not offer him what is not good for him. For example, Ushun, if you are going to give her honey, you have to taste it first before you give her the honey, because in her story she was going to be poisoned by the honey. So the idea here is not the tradition. It's the idea is to understand the construct and the concept that the story is given to you in. Because you have to, it would be better for you to respect the construct that you are given to work through, but at the same time understand it is a fucking construct. It is not reality. It is reality, but a different kind of reality. And you, as a magician, will need to learn how to shift between realities without obsessing. And this is where paradigm shifts come into play as a chaos magician. We can train ourselves by having different friends in different places. What do I mean by that? It's like, for example, you work with certain voodoo loa, you work with certain nagas, you work with certain spirits, you work with certain whatever, and understand that these beliefs, for example, in Buddhism, the idea is that there's no creator God. It's just someone who was lonely, and then he told people that, oh, okay, I am the creator God, and he said, da, so people thought that, oh, you are the great father. Now, if you come and talk to the creator God from a monotheistic religion, be it voodoo or be it whatever, and you tell, oh, there's no creator God, go fuck yourself, because then you're trying to impose your beliefs on a tradition that's been there before you even was sprouted into existence. So the idea is to kind of like find the middle ground of jumping between paradigm and another. If you are, for example, working with serpent deities, and you have working with falcon and eagle deities, okay, don't be a dumbass and work at the same day. You say, for example, I'll work with Garuda and then work with Ananta at the same day. That is like an accident waiting to happen. But the solution to this is to kind of understand that, yes, I am Garuda and I am Ananta. I am both sides of the equation, but this is my psychology, not the truth, or not reality, or not their reality. Their reality is that they are enemies. Serpents are the enemies of falcons, and falcons are the enemies of serpents. Whether you put it this way or whether you put it that way, these are the stories. So when you go back to understand your personal psychology, excuse me, I'll be with you guys in a second. So when you go back to understand your personal psychology and to understand how you create constructs for these stories to live within them, you will give yourself the space of saying, okay, I can go to this paradigm and fully believe in this paradigm and come out of it clean. And understand that these paradigms, it's not your job to make peace between these paradigms and say, oh no, this is the one truth, you all have to follow it. Or vice versa. This is not the job of the magician. The magician's job is for him what he wants. So what serves you? What helps you? These are your friends. These are your spirits. Learn how to conduct based on their story and the construct, but understand that this construct is not the ultimate reality. It's their reality. And you respect their sense of reality by going into it and not creating disruption. Of course, I'm not saying like you have to respect everyone's reality. Now, we're talking about the spirit level, we're not talking about dealing with other humans. Now, this is the first level. The second level, let's say we're dealing with humans. Whose reality do you have to respect, and whose reality you be like, I have to discern this reality. I have to say, that this reality does not fit in my way of seeing things, and it does not serve me to my purpose. The first rule is advertising. Understand that we're all advertising something. Everyone is advertising a concept. Everyone is advertising a religion. Everyone is advertising themselves. Some are advertising themselves in a good, perfect way. Everybody loves them. Some are advertising the shit in a very terrible way, and they end up enclosed in this circle of nobody loves me, I'm a poor, poor guy. And the idea is you create your own constructs, because these constructs make you feel safe. These constructs help you get your food, get your necessities. But then there's this in sexology, and I was watching a video about sexology a couple of days ago, and they had this very interesting theme. She was telling her patient, I want you to evolve beyond survival and go into pleasure. And this is constructs. Whatever you're going to go through from one level to the other, that is another construct. You have a construct here, you have a construct there. Some constructs are heavenly constructs, some constructs are hellish and terrible and terrifying constructs. But what is the point of a construct is that you live within this construct because it serves you. So this was the first lesson. I will give lessons when I feel that it's appropriate to give another lesson. But for now, to summarize this whole lesson, the first part of the lesson we talked about is what is the rules of conduct for this class, and it's just 3 rules. First one is ask questions, because I'm going to make lessons based on your questions, not just based on what I'm going to tell you. That's the first part. The second part is behave yourself. Really behave yourself. There's no room for drama. Keep your personal shit outside. If you want to learn something, stay. If you want to make ruckus and chaos, it's a funny word because it's called chaos magic. If you want to make ruckus and not make and cause cloud for people instead of helping them understand, you're out. And I will not be merciful at all with people who fuck around. It's as simple as that. This is the most important rule. Actually, it has the middle finger to it as well. If you can't have a sense of respect. The third one and the last one is do magic. If you ain't doing magic, you ain't beginning asking questions, you're going to be creating a lot of ruckus. Do magic, take what I teach you with a grain of salt. This is why the first lesson is discernment. I am not perfect. I'm not going to teach you anything outside of my own construct. So if your construct has developed better than mine, please send me a private message and we can have a discussion. Keep those discussions outside of the lesson. Now, to the fourth part, the part that I spoke about regarding discernment. Discernment in general is the ability to know what is good for you and what is not. And we spoke about like spirit paradigms and the idea behind how you treat an entity and a deity based on their own reality, not on your own reality. Go and jump in there and deal with them and fully take the experience as it is. The ability to take an experience as it is crucial to your discernment, to your ability to discern what is useful for you and what is not. Because if you filter an experience, like if you jump into an experience and during your taking of experience, you're filtering it, what happens is that you end up listening to yourself, not what is being told to you. So jump into the experience, fully devour it. After the experience ends, come back to yourself, then do the filtering. And this filtering kind of involves you understanding, okay, this story is because this works for these people, and this story works because it works for these people. But I will go into the story and work with that story as it is, and if it doesn't serve me, I get the fuck out. Even take this as a rule of conduct with other human beings. When you're dealing with other human beings, there is an important thing to understand that human nature is really hard to change. It's not as easy as people think it is. It is not. It's a lot of work, a lot of disciplines to be undertaken, a lot of oaths to be taken between you and yourself to kind of like be able to sit down and be like watchful over yourself and all these kind of things. And it's not just saying, I'm a good person, and expecting the next day you're going to be a good person. And maybe the idea of you being a good person does not serve you. It does not serve your true will. So how do you know, how do you discern what is not good for you and what is good for you? It comes after you have jumped into an experience and imbibed it fully and understood, and then like filtered yourself through it. And this requires a certain bravery and courage, the willingness to make mistakes. So that's it for now. See you in the next lesson. And do ask questions, because based on these questions, I'm going to prepare the next lesson. And if I don't get any questions, I'll just jump into the next subject that comes to mind. So I hope this was of help. See you later.